Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it.
Green Hill Zone. 3 words that when used separately are harmless, but when put together can send a shiver down any Sonic fan's spine. What started as one of the most iconic stages in all of gaming has since become a groan-worthy inclusion to any recent game it's featured in. Sand may be included.
I don't like sand.
At this point when a new Sonic game is coming out, the one question on everybody's mind is, well, other than will it be good, is will it start with Green Hill Zone? Then we all collectively facepalm as for the past 10 years or so the answer has been a resounding yes. Its repeated inclusion has become a hotly debated topic in the community. Is it overused? Why do people love Green Hill so much? Why do some people now hate Green Hill so much? What separates it from other iconic locales like Wispy Woods from Kirby? All these questions and more will be answered as I once again don my deep-sea diving suit and wade my way through the septic tank of Sonic discourse. There's a clip of a guy in a septic tank I could use, but I don't think I should use it. So anyway, Green Hill Zone. What is Green Hill Zone? I think for me, Green Hill is what helped set the stage for Sonic as a franchise, a brand, yada yada yada. It's as much a character as he himself is. The first thing you see before even playing is Sonic wagging his finger in a cool looking emblem, as the beautiful Green Hill background scrolls by. Then, the title card appears, and boom! And then, that's obviously boom is like you pressing start and being. It's a very well established, well constructed shot. The flowers help contrast Sonic from the blue sea. The trees and plants help funnel your vision towards him. Notice the density of flora near Sonic as opposed to the further side of the frame. This is all talking about the first frame of Green Hill, by the way. While also providing multiple layers to help give a sense of depth. The colors are bright, they pop. It's all amazing. I don't know about you, but I immediately want to start running through this level from the very first frame. In fact, you can even start running as the title card is disappearing. Sonic's so fast and impatient, he will even outrun non-diegetic elements. That's not to even mention the use of CRT televisions to help blend the pixels together. Hell, they even use this to give the waterfalls a misty rainbow effect, something that is sorely missed in the HD era. The art direction is one of the first things you'll notice in any video game, and they do an amazing job at captivating you from the get-go. And none of this is to even mention the level design, which throws you into an exciting playground that perfectly explains everything you need to know about Sonic and the way he controls, and what makes him stand apart from other platformers at the time. There are multiple paths, there are secrets that utilize Sonic's abilities to their fullest, there are even some momentum-based puzzles, like using the speed shoes to land on top of this shuttle loop to get the life monitor and rings. How about this set piece, where he rolls through these 2 tunnels and gets shot sky high into a parade of dazzling gold rings? It teaches you that going fast is great, sure, but maintaining it is important. And that's where the game's challenge comes in. Most of the time, build off in corners of the level which force you to double back, killing your speed. And certain power-ups are on peaks that you have to do slow, blocky platforming challenges to ascend to. A choice that's pretty antithetical to the general conceit of Sonic. Ultimately though, the negatives are small and far outweighed by the positives. Sega spent most of its dev time on Sonic 1 perfecting this level, and it shows. There are so many details and brilliant design decisions here I could spend hours talking about, but I don't need to. Its success as an opening level is in the seals. It was a stage so good that it sold the Genesis. Sega was so confident in it that their advertising involved them setting up kiosks and malls with Super Mario World and Sonic right next to each other, and letting audiences just play them. It was that good. I'd argue the Green Hill Zone was just as iconic as Sonic was at the time, and of course, due to this popularity, not to mention it being the most perfect way to start a Sonic game, a game heavy in themes of nature versus mechanical progress, it would only make sense for them to bring it back in the future. Right? Right? From here on in, Sonic games' opening levels became less about Green Hill and more about the feeling of Green Hill, the ideas and emotions it invoked. Emerald Hill is probably the most derivative level in the classic trilogy, but it feels like Green Hill's final form, kinda like Dragon Ball. You know, it's over 9,000! I've never seen Dragon Ball. Emerald Hill is a lot more focused on keeping your momentum. It ditches the verticality of Sonic 1, and even helps alleviate the problems of the secret areas, by having them be hidden tunnels that keep you moving forward. Additionally, it streamlines the design by making the level have 2 easy interchangeable paths, a top and a bottom. Whereas Sonic 1 kinda devolved into a basic platformer as it went on, with levels being fairly slow, linear, and boxy, here Sonic 2 helped establish a sort of unspoken rule in its level design that the games would carry until adventure. The higher path is faster, but trickier to stay on, the lower path is slower, more dangerous, but easiest to stay on. Emerald Hill perfectly displays this by giving you multiple opportunities to stay on the top path, or get back to it again, before Chemical Plant really cements the idea in your brain hole. Angel Island in Sonic 3 and Knuckles keeps a lot of these same ideas from its forefathers, keeping lots of secrets, top and bottom pathing, emphasizing maintaining your speed, but expands upon it by having the level go up, down, and all around, in a way that doesn't halt you in your tracks. You know, unless you suck at it. It's very seamlessly done too, and conveys certain hazards very well to the player. You have bottom routes that take you underwater, which slows you down and leaves you susceptible to traps, but you can also climb up a massive waterfall, where water hazards don't pose a problem, ergo, the top path remains faster. And it's so seamless that, if you're skilled enough, you feel no loss in your momentum. It feels like they went back to Green Hill's verticality and incorporated it in a way that feels organic and smooth, as opposed to stopping what you're doing to do a series of platforming challenges to climb up random peaks in the level. Point being, despite these stages clearly being derivative of Green Hill, they still managed to form their own identity and stand apart from their predecessor, through iterating on what worked, ditching what didn't, and in Angel Island's case, giving it an entirely new aesthetic. They keep the original level's design goals in mind, and iterate upon them to the point where Angel Island is probably one of Sonic's best opening levels in the entire series. Break it down to its core components and you can see the resemblance, they just got so good at their craft you didn't notice. Once Sonic made his jump to 3D, Green Hill Zone took a pretty big backseat in favor of slightly more realistic zones for Sonic to traverse. The levels were now being built around the story, and I don't think the plot of adventure calls for Sonic to take a detour back to this random forest. The most they'd use it for were mainly in spin-offs from the time, where they would still follow the same theme of taking what worked about the original and doing their own spin on it, such as Sonic Advance's Neo Green Hill Zone, featuring a nice beach area, or Advance 3's Sunset Hill, which literally uses a remix of Green Hill for its theme song. It's not a very good one, the first time we really saw Hill of Greenland in 3D was in Adventure 2, where it remained nothing more than a secret bonus level to reward the player for collecting 180 emblems. And getting air ranks. Wait, get air ranks in not only every level, but all 5 variations of the same level. What the fuck? A completely different stage they were obsessed with reusing. Way more than Green Hill, with the perpetrator being Seaside Hill. Dude, I don't know if everybody collectively forgot or something, but Seaside Hill Zone was fucking everywhere. For like a decade. It, of course, got its start in Sonic Heroes. Ironically, the first 3D game in the series where the story took a backseat in favor of creative level themes, like Future City, Frog Forest, and boo, Haunted House. And then have a long pause on his face, and then just play a green screen FNAF jump scare of Freddy Fazbear. But since then, it went on to be reused in Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics, Mario and Sonic at the London Olympics, all 3 Sonic racing games, Sonic Generations, because of course, and was the main area in Sonic Dash, which is very sadly the most popular Sonic game of all time. Be sure to get the Angry Birds characters before he goes away forever. Ugh. I can only imagine that Sega figured Seaside Hill was looking a lot more like Sand Hill, right? Sonic, shut up, fuck off, we're done. So Sega figured Seaside Hill looked enough like Green Hill to the point where the general public wouldn't notice. Therefore, they don't have to spend their quality time and money redesigning, modeling, and retexturing Green Hill for a 3D space. Never change, Sega. Just kidding. Please change, for the love of God. Seaside Hill would soon be dethroned as the poster child for Sonic-themed nostalgia pandering when Generations came out, and we got to see Green Hill Zone in glorious high definition. Oh, and like I said, Seaside Hill's there too, but don't worry about that. I'd argue that Generations is the closest Sonic has ever came to recapturing that feeling of witnessing a technological evolution of Sonic since Adventure 2. Generations Green Hill is just as lively and exciting as the original was, but with more spins and additions. If you want to see more of that, check out my video on Generations Classic Sonic and its subversion of the series tropes. The baseline is the Green Hill was back in the forefront, and a mainline Sonic, and people fucking loved it. To the point where, at the time of this recording at least, over a decade later, it's still the Sonic Twitter banner. Strange because, you know, Forces and Frontiers also have a Green Hill, and yet they still use Generations. Almost as if they know those ones look like shit. Generations' successful throwback started the trend of constant nostalgia pandering. Lost World starts with Windy Hill, which looks exactly like Green Hill. No real substantial gimmicks or changes other than thorns. Oh wait, the original had that. And, sheep. bouncy sheep. Boing. Whoa, hold the phone. The grass, it's square now? Fuck. Then Forces. See my previous video, shameless plug. Then Frontiers. More mobile games, and more mobile games. It's everywhere. It's just everywhere, and it hasn't stopped. It never will stop. So you see the problem, right? It became less about Green Hill Zone's broader design ideas and goals, and more so just aping the aesthetic. Very badly. Green Hill slowly lost all of its detail spark, and was replaced with more economic aesthetics for faster dev time. It's a real shame too. In the current era, we could have had a lot of more cool iconic zones be realized with the technology on hand, or remix other lesser themes if you really want to, but instead they regurgitate their old ideas to keep people invested, to the point where those people are starting to feel fatigued and burnt out. Like I said before, Green Hill was considered just as iconic as Sonic, so I guess it makes sense they'd want to reuse it so much. If this was the mindset Sega always had though, then we would have missed out on so many of the franchise's most iconic stages like Emerald Coast or fucking City Escape. There isn't a level before or since that has featured a more iconic musical sting. Green Hill is now just a gimmick in and of itself. Instead of a celebrated iconic location, its reuse feels cynical, cheap, and an afterthought. Unlike Wispy Woods, or Mario's level motifs, Green Hill was never meant to be a tradition. It was a one-and-done zone meant for a specific place at a specific time. It was a level meant to sell Sonic to a new audience, and compete with the most titanic and oppressive gaming company on the market. That time has long since passed. You know, Sega lost. While they have brought it back successfully, and made improvements and fun spins occasionally, it feels played out and tired. It's no longer a warm welcome from a friend, but like seeing a tacky clown at a birthday party year after year, who used to do cool magic tricks, but never bothered learning much else after he peaked, recycling the same stunts in hopes that kids would still be impressed.
Oops! I guess I ripped my pants again!
Sure, it may have been neat the first time, maybe even the second too, but after the 100th, it makes me wonder who they're doing this for. It can't be for nostalgia's sake, because when it's in every Sonic game, it's no longer nostalgic, it's just the status quo. Other platformers bring back level themes. Wispy Woods from Kirby is a recurring boss character in almost every game. Mario's level motifs were trope codifiers for the genre. What makes their repeated use different from Sonic? Kirby's Wispy Woods is a tradition. He's a recurring character meant to appear in every game, and even then he's had fun spins put on him. Mario has long since abandoned repeated level tropes with Odyssey, the only instance being a complete remake and redesign for the Super Mario 64 castle. In fact, it's so different that it barely constitutes as a rehash. For Mario, the future looks as vast and unpredictable as ever. With Sonic? I can't see a new Sonic game without Green Hill. And knowing it's just gonna be a soulless Generations rehash makes me sad. People talk about Sonic and his Dark Age. Green Hill has one too. An incredible, iconic, literally game-changing vista has become a soulless, never-ending relic. With all this being said, no, Green Hill isn't the problem. Sega and how they use it is. It's a systematic problem that festers the Sonic series. Sega doesn't care about quality or artistic integrity. They just seem to care about getting fat fucking wads. According to a recent interview, Iizuka seems to be pushing back against this, and really wants to take his time with Frontiers, even going so far as to claim it a third evolution for the Sonic series. Iizuka, if this is true and Frontiers is good, I will apologize for every running joke about you, I swear to God. But we'll see in a couple months if it lives up to the promised hype. If anything, it's comforting to see the team push back against Sega's bullshit, and show some confidence in a project that doesn't feel like corporately structured PR speak. But who knows what will happen? All I know is, I can't wait to run through Green Hill Zone. Again.